Space Shuttle Discovery awaits its departure from Edwards Air Force Base in California for its ferry flight back to Florida. The orbiter has been strapped to the back of one of the two shuttle carrier aircraft, or SCA, housed at the Dryden Flight Research Center for just such a journey. Since it has to work twice as hard as a regular 747, the modified SCA has been stripped of many creature comforts to reduce its weight to 300,000 pounds. Discovery tips the scales at about 160,000. To conclude its 2,500-mile cross-country trip, the 747 shuttle combo will land at the Kennedy Space Center, where Discovery began its 5.7 million-mile, 14-day round-trip journey to the International Space Station on August 28.
All of our 7 instruments, as well as our spacecraft, as well as our ground system, is essentially performing flawlessly, so we are certainly ready to proceed on into the mission.
New images from the 7 instruments aboard the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, or LRO, were unveiled at the Goddard Space Flight Center. The news briefing also provided updates on the topography of the lunar South Pole.
140 measurements per second are being made of the elevation of the surface below the spacecraft. This is used in mapping eventually the total surface of the moon. This will be used to kind of be the framework for all the other observations because it will geolocate everything we have.
LRO is serving as a scout for future expeditions to the moon. It'll spend at least a year in a low polar orbit to find safe landing sites, locate potential resources, and measure radiation on the lunar surface. NASA's annual Desert Rats were conducted in Arizona. Desert Rats for research and technology studies provide a testing venue for equipment and capabilities needed for future space exploration. This year, 2 crew members, an astronaut and a geologist, lived inside NASA's prototype Lunar Electric Rover for 2 weeks to simulate an off-world mission. The pair scouted the test area for geological features and conducted simulated moonwalks to collect lunar samples. Also among the items tested was Triathlete, or All-Terrain Hex-Legged Extraterrestrial Explorer, a multi-limbed vehicle designed to work the lunar surface, loading, transporting, and depositing payloads. Triathlete has been designed to carry a lunar habitat to which the lunar rover will dock. Competing in the Northrop Grumman Lunar Lander Challenge, the Armadillo Aerospace Corporation successfully flew this vehicle, Scorpius, twice on 3-minute, 60-meter flights. The completed Level 2 flight profile came at Caddo Mills Municipal Airport in Caddo Mills, Texas, September 12th. The Lunar Lander Challenge is run by the X Prize Foundation for NASA, with prize money provided by the agency's Centennial Challenges program. Teams have until October 31st to complete flight attempts and qualify for remaining LLC prizes. 2 other teams have scheduled Level 2 flight attempts before the deadline. The LLC is one of 6 current Centennial Challenges overseen by NASA's Innovative Partnership Program. The federal government's chief information officer was at the Ames Research Center to announce a new government cloud computing initiative. Vivek Kundra unveiled the new apps.gov platform, designed to increase efficiency and save money.
What the Ames Research Center is doing, especially when you look at technology, it's delivering on the President's agenda of transforming the way government thinks and finding the innovative path in addressing some of the most difficult problems that we face, especially in these tough economic times.
Cloud computing is a concept that enables government agencies to share each other's information technology services as needed over the internet. This cuts down on duplication of IT efforts throughout the government, reducing costs and speeding data sharing. Kundra and NASA Deputy Administrator Lori Garver toured the Nebula Server Center, home to Ames's pilot cloud computing platform. A distinguished group of scientists, policymakers, and industry leaders met at JPL for a day-long symposium to discuss how observations by satellites can best help California manage its emergency responses and environmental resources.
NASA provides just a tremendous range of data, from looking at terrestrial ecosystems with visible and infrared imagers to, one of the more important things is looking at the water systems, and the GRACE instrument, for example, can actually get a global picture of groundwater, which is going to be hugely important as we are facing tremendous demands on resources.
We have a lot of serious challenges ahead of us as a nation and as a world and as a state. And these are really important things for us to be discussing in very appropriate timing.
Transforming space-based observations into scientific information that's not only useful, but also quickly accessible to emergency responders back on Earth is considered a major challenge. Data collected from space can also help scientists and state officials determine the best methods and long-term strategy for protecting the environment and its natural resources. The symposium was sponsored by the Keck Institute for Space Studies, a Caltech JPL think tank. And that's This Week at NASA. For more on these and other stories, log on to www.nasa.gov.
Swish!